Okay, we're live finally. Sound check, please. Okay, hi. This is Steve at Little Treasury. We're at Steve Live, and Der Stiefel is on, and Thomas Burnett is on, and Thomas. Okay, good. I'm seeing your comment. Today we want to talk a little bit about Zaratsu, and Thomas has started off very well with a description of Zaratsu, actually derived from the German Zalatz, which is the name of a company. It was Zalatz Gebrüder, apparently a German firm, and I cannot find any current reference to that firm. So I'm thinking that the Zalatz machines are older vintage and may not be manufactured anymore. So if Thomas or someone else has an update on that, I would greatly appreciate it. And it looks like Thomas has a lot on this. Okay, he's mentioning the Gebrüder Zalatz also. And giving rise to the name of the polishing technique we know today. Okay, I'm having to turn around a bit to see the comments on my other machine. They're not, they're just starting to show on my little display I have here. So I don't need to do that anymore. So having a bit of a linguistic background, I thought it'd be interesting to talk about the Zaratsu from Zalatz. So, of course, in German, word initial S is pronounced Z in English, and the word final Z is Ts, a TS sound. And so you have Zalatz. And in Japanese, there's not a distinction between R and L. Sorry about the boom here. And so we get a substitution of R sound for L. So you have Zaratz. And word finally, you cannot have a consonant sequence ending in a fricative sound like S or F. So you have beef rendered in Japanese as bifu. So Zalatz becomes Zaratsu in transliterating into Japanese. So it's essentially the name of the machine, the Zalatz or Zaratsu in Japanese for the machine. And here we have a picture, if I can get over to it. Here we go. In their Morioka plant, a Zaratsu machine being operated and we have a round disc rotating, and the man is standing and working through the various positions of the flat surfaces as the machine rotates. And they apply some kind of a rouge material to that plate. And I'm not sure what the plate is made of, if that's a removable material, a grit, or if that's just a solid piece through. So when we were there, we didn't get any particular instruction on how this person was doing it, except for they need years of training before they are qualified to work on actual pieces. So I found that quite interesting. So moving to another picture. Here's a lady apparently doing the fine polishing, and she's working in a sitting position, and there were a number of people working like that. I'd say about 4 or 5 doing that process. And it looks like she's doing the fine polishing, but again, a rotating wheel, and totally handheld as she does the work. So, and this is her showing a before and after of the polishing of the various pieces. So that is what I've seen of it. And so I've been trying to do a little research to find out to what extent the Zaratsu machines are still the Zaratsu machines from Germany, or if they're all old stock. I was intrigued by being told that they had just installed 2 of the machines in the U.S. in their Mahwah facility. I mentioned that in our last show. So I intend to do a little bit more research on that and see what's going on. So I also see references about so this ties into where I was going. I see from Woody, is that for all of Seiko or just Grand Seiko? So I believe it is only conducted in the Grand Seiko facility, but I think that some of the Prospex watches are getting finished by those folks. And so I think there is crossover going on. Okay, so that's pretty much what I know about it. Now, I also see in the literature, online literature, that Citizen is doing this polishing, and I intend to track that down a bit more. If someone out there knows something about that, I would like to find out. And we don't see it referenced in Swiss or German watches, interestingly. So I think in order is a little research on that particular machinery and its application, and to what extent it is or is not duplicated by modern machinery that might be available. But everything I saw while I was in the facility looked like ancient relatively ancient equipment, and no labels on it that we could discern. So that's what I know about it. Okay, all right. So Der Stiefel also follows up saying he's heard that the high-end Prospex are being Zaratsu polished. So interestingly, that they are. That's a little bit of cross-pollination, since Grand Seiko has broken off as a, quote, independent company. So if any of you have any more insights, love to hear from you about it. Certainly the work that is done is stunning, and it is done by highly expert folks. And let me get you over to back into this piece. And so as far as I know, it only applies to the case, and I have no information about to what extent it might apply and how is it applied to bracelets. And obviously it's not a method used on the hands and markers, as there are other pieces of equipment that we can show at another time that we saw being applied to those. So that's my take on it. I'm just very interested to know to what extent the method is unique to Grand Seiko. I don't have the answers, and to what extent it applies to the other thought we are given that it is akin to the finishing of samurai swords. So again, that's part of the lore from Grand Seiko, and I find it hard to imagine that they had Zaratsu machines back in the day and hand polishing them. So I want to parse this technique a little bit. So, and okay, so the Turden Gentry, a new name to me here. Devotion and mastery to one's particular discipline is a hallmark of Japanese craftsmanship. It sure is, and to a certain extent, that pride in craftsmanship may be the essence of what we're calling Zaratsu, and perhaps the particular machinery that's involved is secondary. Again, something to be found out. So, Woody comments, the new Four Seasons are beautiful, and they are indeed. And hi, Carlos, you're aboard. And regarding this piece that we're showing, this is the Autumn High Beat, and I want to get that red showing just right. High Beat, very limited edition, SBGH 269. We have just been blessed with a small new assortment, so I'm showing this. Our initial few pieces sold out before they hit the floor, essentially, and so now I have a couple more available for anyone who might be interested in this gorgeous piece. The dial represents the reflection of the fall foliage on the lacquered floors of the Japanese houses, and there's some, on our website at least, there's a beautiful banner showing an image we got from Grand Seiko showing that. And of course, the back of the watch shows the color of the foliage before the autumn season sets in. And again, another unique touch from the Grand Seiko folks. And okay. And Burgundy dial is amazing. It is indeed. And okay, Der Stiefel was at our timeout event and mentions the gentleman who bought that piece is really a nice guy. I think perhaps more than one piece went as well. So, okay. And is that an Urushi dial? That's a good point. I don't think so, because none of the literature associated with it has mentioned that. But definitely is some sort of painted technique. I will definitely make a point of asking Joe Kirk, the resident expert on materials and methods, about that. What exactly is the finish on that? But it's stunning, really a great piece. And is the crown engraved? Let's look at the crown. And it does have, it is signed. I wouldn't call it engraved. It's got the raised Grand Seiko on it. And just a fabulous representative of the collection. So there's that. And let's see. I want to get back over to here, back to me. And so this is sort of the beginning of an exploration of our Zaratsu story, which I intend to dig into and follow up in later shows. And I want to talk about a couple of other pieces. And Carlos is asking about the Getty fire. and he went. Oh, someone asked if he went to L.A., and he did go to L.A. and San Diego. Well, Carlos, I understand you're going to be heading out our way sometime in the spring. Is that right? And around Easter, I think I heard, and I certainly expect to be able to host you here in the store if that's the case. And okay, let's move on to a couple of other little things. Changing the beat. So we got in some new pieces, and this is really changing gears on you. But let's get this queued up. And there we go. So this is a new Meistersinger watch that we just received. And this is a very deep black, almost one of those light absorbing blacks. Very well done. And a yellow dial. And it's 38 millimeters. Very substantial, nicely done case. If that black is viewable, and it's very difficult, I admit. And a little bit on the case back, Meistersinger automatic. And for someone looking for something different, someone who likes the yellow, this is a really nice piece, wearable size. Okay. Okay, and Carlos, he's coming by around Easter, and we'd love to have you. And Dave mentions, yay, Meistersinger. Well, Dave is a Meistersinger fan. And how's yours working, if I may ask? Okay, let's bring it back and try another piece. And this is a larger, similarly colored Meistersinger. And that needs to get in focus. There we are. And this, obviously no date. It is a limited edition, a U.S. only piece. And there were 50 of these made. And you can see on the case back, if you can see it, an engraved image of the U.S. And so 50 pieces, and our piece here is Lucky 8. So someone interested in a pretty short run Meistersinger, Dave perhaps, although it's probably a little larger than your taste. Looks like about 42, might be 43 even. Another interesting tribute to the good old US of A. And Dave's Metris is running smoothly. The first model I showed you was a Metris. Okay. And this is really changing gears, but I think it's an interesting piece that we brought in. And this is back to Omega. And so we've been talking quartz a lot lately. So this is an Omega quartz Skywalker X30. And I understand this has use in space, by a number of astronaut groups. It is titanium, and I can't seem to get, there you go, the different functions. You have 3 different time zones. You have a countdown timer. You have a trip timer, and 3 or 4 different alarms available in it. So this is a fairly unusual piece, and thought it'd be worth bringing to your attention. And nicely done titanium. So I wonder if any of you are familiar with this or have seen it before. So, okay, so don't have really much more going on. This is going to be a brief show. Had a little excitement on the home front. Got a call from the wife while I was at work, and totally freaked out. Our little dog had been attacked on our doorstep by a pit bull-like animal, and I had to run home. Dog's covered with blood. The wife's about ready to pass out, and of course, trip to the vet, and fortunately, nothing mortal. The little dog has a strong undercoat, Shiba Inu, Japanese dog, so I'm keeping on topic. And although she didn't fight back, her very rubbery skin and whatever saved her from being done in. And we have an FBI agent neighbor who saved the dog, who definitely would have been killed. The other dog was going for the neck. And he pulled out his gun and was about to off the dog, but finally was able to get him off our little Yumi. And so my dog even has a Japanese name, so I think that's sort of cool. So, okay, so I think I need to wind it up. This has been a short one. Let's have some follow-up on Zaratsu. As I had looked at this titanium Omega, it makes me wonder also about how Zaratsu is affected on the titanium watches, such as the BGA 231 diver and other pieces, and how that method might need to be executed differently given the difference in materials. So if you're interested, help out, take a little look online, see if you get some info, and we will definitely follow up with what is Zaratsu really. So with that, I think I need to get off, and thank you all for watching. And Wags is in Orlando. What are you doing down there? And okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah, Dave mentions they have coyote problems out in the desert, I guess with going after animals. Yeah, we're moving into an area adjacent to a very wooded, a bunch of acres, and we're wondering if there could be some coyotes here as well. And Derek Shelley, you're late. Yes, you are, and you're so late, about done. And anybody else want to pop on? We can have a little more chat. Sounds like a Tarantino. I guess that's the dog story. Yeah, very much so. We hadn't seen our neighbor packing before, and carries a very large automatic pistol on his hip. Not sure what exactly his assignment is, but we were very fortunate to have him there to rescue our little baby. And, oh, great, Stig Lensborg is on, and he's greeting us from Denmark. And, hey, I pronounced Derek's name properly. That's great. So, okay. All right, hate to get off, guys. I will try to get back on at 5 rather than the later time that my adjusted schedule created, and love to have you on. And if you enjoyed it, give us a little poke there and ring the bell so you get the notices from Craig Ship's channel. And again, I thank Craig for letting me use his space to do this. Okay? All righty. Thank you very much.